Welcome back to our continuing coverage of the first Democratic debate. Standing by now in the spin room in Miami with our Caitlin Huey-Burns is Representative Tulsi Gabbard. Caitlin, go ahead.
Hi, thanks, Elaine. I'm here with Congresswoman Gabbard, who just is fresh off the debate stage.
Yes.
How do you think you did tonight?
I think it went well. It was great to have this platform to be able to speak to the American people about the many different issues that we face, and specifically to raise the point that our foreign policy cannot be separated from every domestic issue that we talked about tonight.
Do you think that Democrats are talking enough about foreign policy in this race? It's so far pretty much been dominated by health care and the economy.
No, the answer is no. And, for me, I've served as a soldier for over 16 years, deployed twice to the Middle East, served in Congress for over 6 years on the Foreign Affairs, Armed Services, and Homeland Security Committee. So I understand the importance of our national security, as well as the high cost of war, the cost that has taken a toll on so many American lives, but the cost that's been paid for by every single American in this country, the trillions of dollars that we've spent since 9/11 alone. Dollars that need to be used to pay for health care for all, to make sure we're investing in a green economy, that we're making sure we've got clean water to drink for every person in this country, clean air to breathe. The needs are great. This is the kind of change that I seek to bring as President Commander-in-Chief, to bring the sea change in our foreign policy that invests in serving the needs of our people.
Iran has also been a topic of conversation not only tonight, but of course over the past several days. What would a President Tulsi Gabbard do differently than what President Trump is doing now? And do you give him credit for not authorizing eventually that Iran strike?
I would do everything different as it relates to Iran based on what this Trump administration has done. He didn't launch an attack, but President Trump has taken every single step that has brought us to the brink of war with Iran. So no, I don't give him credit for that, because he is responsible for the precarious position that we're in now, beginning with removing the United States from the Iran nuclear deal, even though Iran was in compliance, escalating crippling sanctions against Iran, designating their military as a terrorist organization, something unprecedented to any other country in the world, and continuing to deploy more U.S. troops to the region. He's pushing us closer and closer to the brink of this war that would be so costly, it would make the Iraq war look like a picnic.
For you and your campaign, what does tonight mean for you? Was it a make or break moment, and how do you move forward from this?
It's a great opportunity to be able to speak to the American people. I'm going to continue to bring this message of peace and prosperity, of ending our regime change wars, the new Cold War and nuclear arms race, so that we can invest in the things that people need in their everyday lives. This is a message I look forward to continuing to bring to communities across the country, and hope folks saw what we're doing here tonight.
Congresswoman, thank you so much for being with us. Elaine, back to you.
All right, Caitlin Huey-Burns, thank you. Let's bring in our panel again to discuss this. Back with me here on set are Leslie Sanchez, Hari Sevugan, Molly Hooper, and Antjuan Seawright. All right, Hari, I want to start with you, because it's interesting when you look at the biography of a Tulsi Gabbard. It's not typically the biography that we've seen in the past, where national security, military service credentials, these are the things that she has highlighted, right, with respect to her own background. We don't see it often in a woman. We don't certainly see it on the Democratic side very often, but that seems to be changing, of course, this year.
Yeah, we've got several veterans that are in the presidential field. We saw a number of veterans get elected in 2018 into Congress. It's been a very successful formula for Democrats. I think with Congresswoman Gabbard, she's had other issues that have cropped up. Her position on LGBT rights, her position on Assad, have been far out of the mainstream, and definitely out of the mainstream of the Democratic Party, but far out of the mainstream of the country. And I think that has held her back. Seth Moulton, Pete Buttigieg, there are other folks who can speak with the same kind of experience, with that same perspective, understanding the seriousness of war.
But foreign policy issues, Antjuan, as we were talking about before, they don't necessarily rank very high with these Democratic primary voters. It's not something that is consistently asked about on the campaign trail, for instance.
I think part of the reason we find that is because you have to remember who's occupying that temporary public housing unit called the White House. And he came into the race with zero foreign policy experience. The country has gave the president a pass then. They're giving him a pass now. Some of his behavior on issues of foreign policy, so you have that. And I think when you look at who the front runner is to this point, Joe Biden, most people agree that he checks the foreign policy box, whether it comes to his experience in the Senate or his time as VP and the level of respect he has commanded and he gets from foreign leaders all across the country. When you look at people making the conversation about why Joe Biden is the front runner, it's because partly of his foreign affairs experience.
All right, stand by because we want to go to our